Turki Alalshikh proposes a global league for the boxing sport, basically wanting to unify, bring together all the promotional companies. Now, from a boxing fan's point of view, I think it's clear if we are going to be honest about what we've been looking at in boxing in the past, I don't know how many years. Look, for me to put a number on it, what's the number going to be, right? What is it, 10 years, is it 20 years, or 15 years? How many years has it been where we're dealing with a situation where boxing, where as boxing fans are unable, or it's very difficult or rare to see the best fight the best, right? The politics of the sport, the promotional companies, all these invisible lines, these streets, being on the wrong side of the street, and how's that manifest into the best matches for the fans? Well, I'll tell you how it manifests. It manifests into a whole load of crap, a load of BS, right? It's not working out in our benefit as far as being fans of boxing. We're not getting what we want to see. And Turki Alalshikh looks like he's coming from a personal boxing fan space, right? Like outside of the business of boxing, he's superseding the idea of the business of boxing. He's simply saying, listen, man, if money's what's the driving force behind why we're seeing what we're seeing, then I have access to these resources to where we can make, hopefully make money not the issue anymore. We can get more focus on seeing the best fight the best. Now, how does this adversely affect promotional companies like the Al Haymans, the Eddie Hearns, the Frank Warrens, the Bob Arams, right? How does it affect the Oscar De La Hoyas? How does it affect these guys? And how does it affect the sanctioning bodies? The WBA, the WBO, IBF, and the WBC. These sanctioning bodies stand to make a lot of money by charging sanctioning fees for these fighters to defend their titles. And having the right fighter with the right title makes the biggest difference in the world as to whether or not a sanctioning body is successful in the profit or not successful and not in the profit. Hence why you see somebody like Canelo Alvarez holding on to a bunch of belts and not even being forced, or pressures not being applied accordingly to him to defend against his mandatories. And you'll see things like David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez not being able to come to fruition because Canelo Alvarez ultimately gets the last say on how he defends the belts, and there's no pressure to even take away or strip a title that he refuses to defend. We sit with this conundrum, and we sit here constantly trying to figure out how to make this happen. And in a perfect world, Al Heyman or Tom Brown or whoever's in charge of coordinating these situations, or Mauricio Suleiman, would simply call Canelo Alvarez and give him a very quick ultimatum, let him know, like, listen, this fighter, David Benavidez, is the mandatory for your title. He's been sitting on the sideline for X amount of years. You're either going to defend this title against him, or we're going to be forced to strip you of this title to give David Benavidez his rightful earned opportunity to become a champion in a division, in this case a super middleweight division. But that's not the world we live in, because the politics say right, and the politics dictate that the WBC stands to make a lot of money off the big purses that Canelo Alvarez brings in. So therefore, no pressure on Canelo Alvarez. Allow him to do what he does. If he wants to fight Joe Schmo, a tomato can, or some Home Depot part-time worker, if he decides that's what he would like to do, we'll honor that, as long as Canelo can assure us that the pay-per-view would sell, that the fight will sell. And Canelo, for the most part, has been able to deliver on that. So WBC sits back. And this is the same story for a lot of these sanctioning bodies. I mean, I that's why you got to give like the IBF the respect they deserve for their ability to look at it like, if you're not going to defend the title, we're going to take it from you. So I won't complain when you see them taking it away from a Terrence Crawford, or when they're threatening a Usyk to take it away, or other fighters that they've done that with in the past. It's about the belt being defended. So I digress to say that Turki Alalshikh has shown interest in boxing. We know this, at least for the past 2-3 years. He's been hosting his own events and putting together some big fights and some cards that are amazing, that we probably would never see if he wasn't the one actually putting the fights together. But still trying to answer the call of pleasing the fans and understanding and clearly hearing what the fans are saying, as far as them not getting the chance to see the best fight the best, how the fans are reacting to when he is able to facilitate these kind of fights. When you look at the Usyk and the Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury undisputed heavyweight title, that was a huge fight. Even the fight that he was putting together with Better Beeve and Bivol to unify the light heavyweight division, or even the 5-on-5 card that he just put on recently, we have to all admit that those, as a boxing fan, I can't lie to you and say that that wasn't very entertaining, that I wasn't looking forward to see more cards like that in the future. But how are you going to do it? And Turkey's actually putting an event together on August 3rd where Terrence Crawford is going to be headlining it, fighting for a title at 154, making his debut to fight against Ishmael Madrimov, to become a champion at division. And once again, he's aiming at trying to become undisputed. And that's music to a person like Turkey Alalshikh's ears. I think is music to the ears of the fans of boxing. Also trying to put fights together with the likes of Boots Ennis and things of that nature, Canelo Alvarez, super fights. But realizing how difficult it's probably been, right? I'd have to assume that him trying to get on the same page and get PBC or Matchroom and Golden Boy and Queensberry and Top Rank to get them together on the same page to make certain fights has probably been very difficult, because these promotional companies have their own point vested interest as to why they wouldn't want their fighter to fight the best in the world, right? There's advantages to selectively matchmaking, putting your fighter in the ring with good fights, but at the same time trying to weigh out. You want to keep him undefeated. You want to keep the fight exciting. You want the fans to be entertained. So many things to balance out. But I think that for the most part, the fans just want the best to fight the best, right? So Turkey, brainstorming, I'm sure, with his team, has decided that what might solve this problem is bringing together all these different promotional companies under one banner, under one global league, where all the fighters are in the same pool, and ultimately the best will continue to fight the best. So what's the pros and the cons to this? Well, the pros are obviously the fans win. The cons are that there'll be less undefeated fighters, right? Your ability to develop a fighter in a way to where you're not giving him the best competition gets kind of taken away from you. Also, how do the sanctioning bodies feel about that? Right? I don't know. There are rumors that even a UAE or United Emirate or Arab Emirate, whatever UAE title, or some sort of global one title situation where every division would have one title and one champion, maybe like an intercontinental, like interim champion position. But for the most part, limit the amount of belts that were going to be handed out by the sanctioning bodies. Well, that's not going to be good news to the sanctioning bodies. They make money on every single belt they put out there. So ultimately, now these sanctioning bodies would be restricted to making money with one fighter from every division, maybe two. I could see the sanctioning bodies pushing back on that idea, maybe not finding any type of profitability for themselves to get involved in a situation like that. Maybe Turkey can make it profitable for them, offer them money, give them bigger cuts, maybe back end money. I don't know, bigger percentages, back end money. I don't know how they would put it together, but I'll tell you this: there's going to be push on this idea, and there's going to be a lot of you know, there's going to be good reception on the idea from the fans, I believe. Watching these unveil, it's not, one thing's for sure, two things for certain. This is not for sure, because it's very difficult to get multiple people to be on the same page, right? This is a very difficult task that Turkey's um proposing to put together. But I can tell you that I'm going to wish him luck on that. Wish him the best on that, because that's something that I would love to see. I think boxing would just, in my opinion, elevate. We'd see boxing become one of the biggest sports in the world again, the biggest sport in the world again, where we'd constantly be seeing the best fights. The matchmaking would get a lot more competitive. And that puts us in a position to see way more sweet science on a sweet science level. Because when you have a fighter that doesn't belong with another fighter in the ring, you don't get to see that sweet science, because that fighter doesn't have to go into that bag. We're going into a big card this weekend with Javante Tank Davis and Frank Martin are headlining the car. And you'll hear that Coach Calvin will consistently speak on the idea that, listen, you guys haven't seen the best Tank Davis. Nobody who he's been against has forced him to go into his bag for you guys to see how talented this guy is. Now, that's profound when you hear it out loud, right? understanding that the only way we'll get an opportunity to see Tank Davis show us how great he really is going to be based on his dancing partner, based who he's on in the ring with, based on the matchmaking, right? So safe to say, or reasonable to say, that what Calvin Ford was saying is that we have not yet seen Tank fight the best yet, right? We haven't seen him fight the best yet. And how long are we going to wait to see him fight the best? Even this fight with Frank Martin, Tank is making it clear, Leonard Ellaby is making it clear that Frank Martin doesn't belong in the ring with him. That there's just levels to this game, and that Frank Martin doesn't check the boxes. Well, Frank Martin doesn't check the boxes, and why did you guys select Frank Martin to be in this fight? I don't know. Look, man, what Turkey's trying to do, we all got to celebrate it as boxing fans. We should be celebrating it. Otherwise, you're just cutting your nose off to spite your own face. We benefit by seeing the best fight the best. The politics behind the scenes, the business aspect of it, above my pay grade. I hope these guys are all able to figure it out, get on the same page, come to some sort of agreement that benefits the fans of boxing. I'm concerned about my pay-per-view money that I'm spending. I'm not so much concerned about what the boxers are making, or the money that they're spending. Maybe I'm wrong for that. I don't know. But you guys let me know. Put in the comments. What do you guys think about this proposed idea by Turki Alalshikh? Bringing the belts down, maybe making one belt per division, bringing all the promotional companies under one banner so that all the fighters are in the same pool so the best can fight the best. How do you guys feel about that? Leave it in the comments if you're against it. If you think it's a horrible idea, let me know. I'm dying to hear from you guys. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to my subscribers. If this is the first time tapping into content, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit your bell icon so you're getting all the alerts when this content is dropping. All right, guys, we're almost at the 1,000 subscriber mile mark. We're doing a cash giveaway as well once we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, courtesy of Charles Edward Cheese. So salute to Charles Edward Cheese for supporting and sponsoring the channel. And salute to all my subscribers that have subscribed already. And looking forward to meet all my new subscribers. Let me know what you think. It's your boy Claymore Rain. It's the ATP Combat Media Show. And at this point, we out.